Hello, friends. This is John Klein III of episode 81 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review Avengers Annual 10. So let's get to it. And once again, thank you, Francisco, for providing the theme song to the podcast. Appreciate it. And you. And I probably should have released this one before the Inferno comic tie-in, but we are kicking off the Marvels month with Avengers Annual 10, pivotal moment in Carol Danvers' story, a complete response to Avengers 200, but we have the work to get to there. The plan is to watch the Marvels next weekend. We just have a pretty full weekend this weekend, and we usually try not to watch a movie opening weekend in a ways, but with Marvel movies, we've been doing pretty good with opening weekends, but I just have to avoid spoilers for one more week. And so let's get to this. Unfortunately, this is one of those covers that gets hit hard with the win of the Columbia T 10 speed Formula 10 racer bike. We can see more information inside. And this banner was in too many comics, as is the Toys R Us uh, contest banner that went across. And ironically, or maybe coincidentally, the Marvel's banner is going across comics anew, like they haven't learned a lesson from 30 years ago. But this is one of those classic old school covers that just has a bunch of caption boxes, so it's incredible. This came out in 1981, cost you 75 cents. I bought mine from Mile High Comics, thanks to the bag and board, and in good condition, which I don't know how much that cost me, but at this point I was like, I need to own this issue, and I will buy in the cheapest edition ever because I like my collection, but it's mostly and I got some nice conditions, but even like the latest batch I bought from Mile High Comics that I made a video about you can find on YouTube at Jackal SII. You can, even those were like whatever the not near mint if possible is the version I bought because I just wanted to own them. So, the Avengers caption or character box is Captain America, Beast, Iron Man, Vision, Hawkeye, Thor, Scarlet Witch, and Wonder Man, who is the worst. But Hawkeye gives him a run for his money this issue. I was having some fun on Twitter, which I guess you can also follow me on at Jackal SII, and I posted a couple of screen grabs and thoughts on it as I was reading it. I want to say that was Thursday or Wednesday of the week prior to November 11th, which is when we're recording. This will go out tomorrow, Sunday. I guess a programming note up front. I'm working again Sunday night through Wednesday night, so I guess we might be recording Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, but I'll figure out how to do that. But that might just be the new schedule instead of trying to squeeze it in somehow half cocked. Like if you're going to do something, let's go full. Um, it's not. So we have C, Captain America totally defeated as he goes through a window with Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye all surprised. Witness the invincible Iron Man knocked out of action. He's prone on the ground. Observe Spider Woman's daring midnight rescue. Behold the deadly new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants with Blob, Rogue, Pyro, Destiny, Mystique, and Avalanche, which people have retroactively been like, man, what a grouping of bisexuals and queer individuals. And it's like, oh yeah, how great is that? With I guess Blob and Avalanche being like, what are we doing here? Plus a shocking mystery guest. Oh, first moment is like, who is that supposed to be? But I know who it's supposed to be. And all that and a cameo appearance by the Uncanny X-Men. And this is a king size annual. So we've been doing a lot of bigger issues this week. And then the Spider-Man is the mask is in the bottom left corner. Oh, and it would have cost you 75 cents. Uh, so we have, oof, oh, dad's eyes, man. And there came a day when Earth's mightiest heroes found themselves, I guess it being a good condition too, maybe it's a little faint, united against a common threat. On that day, the Avengers were born to fight the foes no single superhero could withstand. Stanley presents the Mighty Avengers by Friends Betrayed. Writer Chris Claremont, co-editor as well, because he read Avengers 200 and was like, nah, dog, give me the Avengers. What a, and they allowed him to do it. Penciler Michael Golden, inker Armando Gil, Joe Rosen, letterer, and Michael Golden, colorist. Co-editor David Anthony Kraft, and editor-in-chief Jim Shooter. Yeah, the 1981 annual. Welcome to the premier metropolis of the West Coast, America's gateway to the Pacific, the fabled city by the bay, San Francisco, which my wife's from, or at least lived there for a while. Yeah, she's from Montana. Anyways, leaking the city, but lived many years in San Francisco. Leaking the city and Marin County across the mouth of the harbor is one of the most famous and beautiful bridges in the whole world, the Golden State. In the nearly 50 years since it was open, it has become as much a symbol of San Francisco and a tourist attraction as the city's cable cars. Tragically, over the years, many people have chosen to end their lives by jumping off the bridge. Occasionally, though, someone gets pushed. The woman falls without a sound. 250 feet straight down towards the boiling black water of the Golden State, rolling. She never reaches it because Spider-Woman is there to catch her. And this is one of Comic Dumb's most famous friends, and they get to meet here. Glider wings grabbing for every wayward gust of wind, the Dark Angel scrambles for altitude. And it's hard not to read Golden State Bridge, San Francisco, without thinking about the escape from Alcatraz and how people say there's no way they could have survived the warring waters. And Spider Woman has the blonde between her legs as she's just trying to glide on any wind currents. Alone, Spider Woman probably could have remained airborne, but she's too low, too soon, too slow, and carrying twice her weight. Which I guess is also hard not to think about 89 Batman with asking Vicky Vale how much she weighs before zip lining up. The best she can do is twist her body as they fall so that she bears the blunt of the impact. She surfaces almost immediately. And so she's going to try to swim to shore. Alone, the Dark Angel could easily, and I guess Claremont really likes Spider-Woman. And I want to say he wrote Spider-Woman before this too, so it's pretty much Claremont putting all of his toys into one book. Alone, the Dark Angel could easily reach the shore. If she strays with her companion, they could both die. Yet, characteristically, the thought of abandoning her helpless charge never enters Spider-Woman's head. 3 hours later, as the morning sun burns off the pre-dawn fog, San Francisco slowly bestirs its sprawling collective self and reaches to greet the new day. And besides the faint font, I don't know what else makes this a good condition. Like the spine's good, staples are, you know, doing their job. On the western fringe of the city, living the coast it, itself as Ocean Beach, and to it, bright and early this Wednesday morning, comes Saint Sabrina Morel, San Francisco Police Department homicide. She's here on business. And this is the first panel where I was like, oh man, I should post this. But we see a nun leaving and an officer holding the door as they're trying to push not push, but let a little girl out who says in the tiniest of voices, "Hello, I'm Maddie Pryor. I've been sick, but I'm better now." Which is like, what? And this issue takes place around like immediately after Uncanny X-Men 143. So adult Madeline Pryor is still see here 160 Uncanny 168, 143. Oh no, Eric Crosby of Turtle Soup fame says never to do math on the mic. But 68 minus 43, that's a 2 and a 5. That's 25 issues away. So maybe Claremont's having an idea around this time. Jean's been dead for a bit. We see a fun pose of Spider-Woman sitting or clinging to the wall, just looking awesome as the doctors try to give her an update. They have no idea who it is, but then the detective walks in and says that she's very familiar. She is. They ran a check on her fingerprints. Your Jane Doe is actually Carol Susan Jane Danvers. What? And then if you need any more information about her, oh, actually, let's do this because it's Carol. We're representing Carol Danvers this month. I'm assuming at one point Miss Marvel comic, the New Mutant, will probably give us something to talk about, so that'd be fun to get her. And then in my Kate Pride Lockheed Magic collection, there is no comics that immediately was obvious that had Monica Rambeau in it, which is a shame as I love Monica Rambeau. But, so it's just going to be a heavy Carol month. It was just easiest. And then after this, we get to read some of my favorite X-Men comics, so look forward to that. I know I am. Age 29, Major U.S. Air Force retired, Chief of Security, Kennedy Space Center, NASA retired, former editor, Woman Magazine, which was part of the Daily Bugle magazine run. Her Air Force file is classified, but I'm told she was one of the best people they had. Top-notch pilot. Fluent in 3 languages, expert in armed and unarmed combat. She's single. Last known residence is 14 Carroll Street, Greenwich Village, New York, which I wonder what that real location is. And 6 months ago, she disappeared. And being a full service podcast, I just looked it up and it's Carol with 2 R's and 2 L's. So I don't know if it's just like, oh, her name's Carol, so let's look up a Carol Street. But Claremont being, living in New York, I can only imagine it had some significance, but all the internet tells me is it's in Brooklyn. And I guess I didn't go to image Google or Google image search. Yeah, it's just apparently in Brooklyn and residences are there. Miss Danvers was stripped of all identifications, her clothes, of their labels. Her assailant wanted to make her as anonymous and untraceable as possible. We'll need her help to find him. The foe. Oh yeah, and that Maddie Pryor is the only reference. I don't know why. Uh, why the inclusion? All we could do is watch and wait and hope for the best. Either she'll recover or she won't. And Spider-Woman's aware of someone who might help. And we get to 4 pages that got me to buy this comic. And then I'm going to post the 4 pages / panels on the the podcast's Twitter and Instagram, which you can find at SNFWM when I upload it. Across the continent in Professor Charles Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, a phone rings to the world at large. This is an exclusive, reclusive, respectable boarding school. Only a handful of people know that it is also the headquarters of the band of mutant superheroes, the Uncanny X-Men. X-Men. The youngest pupil in Xavier School, and currently its only X-Man in training, is Kitty Pryde. And Golden draws a very young looking Kitty Pryde, like someone told him, hey, she's 14, and he draws her like like a 14-year-old. Like she looks very small compared to everyone else, and her eyes are big like a child's. Like he got the assignment. He understood the assignment. Professor's in the danger room, Spider Woman. Hang on a minute, I'll get him. She doesn't bother her doors, but not like the Kool-Aid man. She just phases through them. But merely uses her mutant ability to face solid objects to walk through all the walls separating her from Xavier. Hard at work repairing the observation booth's control systems, destroyed last Christmas, along with much of the mansion itself during an epic one-on-one battle between Kitty and a demon. Check out X-Men 143, which I still can't believe I was not aware that Brian Michael Bendis was tapped to write a film adaptation of, which clearly he knew when he got the assignment, not like it wasn't going to go anywhere, but he still gave it his all, and I would love to read that script. Our two full pledge X-Men, Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, and Storm Aurora. Found Professor long distance. And Storm's like, who is it, kitten? And Xavier says, thank you, child. And Kitty covers her mouth. Spider-Woman, Aurora, she sounded pretty. Nightcrawler, yuck. As he bounced into the danger room. So it's still irritating Kitty Pryde, who's not cool with Kurt yet. And it's like, come on, Kitty. He's a full-fledged X-Men. And you live with him constantly. Like, get on board. Without warning, Nightcrawler vanishes from the observation booth as a moisture puff of smoke and flame and a bath of imploding air to instantly reappear inside the danger room atop the massive weapons module as he and his fellow X-Men, Wolverine and Colossus, Peter Rasputin, have been working for 2 days to install. And it's fun that Wolverine doesn't have a code name or a real name, a alleged name. And Colossus is, oh no, and Kurt's like, I say, mein Gott. Everything is nearly set, Wolverine. That's a horrible German accent. Once I make a few minor adjustments, bear with me, Colossus. You only have to hold this a couple more minutes longer. Take your time, Turovich. It only weighs 5 tons. I've only been holding it absolutely motionless as you and Kitty requested since breakfast. And then back in the observation booth, Kitty's like, oh, gee, Peter sounds so miffed, and it's all my fault because of my fight with that stupid demon. True, kitten. That battle wrecked much of the school, and it will cost a fortune to set things right. But what matters, and it's the only thing that matters, is that you survived. Machines can be replaced. People, especially those you love, cannot. And we see Logan. Oh, I see him now by the machine. Well, I guess the coloring looks a little separated in some pages, so he's like, you sure know what you're doing, bub? Kitty and I triple checked every circuit, mean Fran. It should work. Great. It will work. And we see Xavier on the phone. I agree, Spider-Man. Your situation does seem to indicate a need for my special abilities. I could be in San Francisco by mid-afternoon. I'll see you then. Cross your fingers, X-Men. Powers relay on! And he hits 2 giant buttons with a clack. And then Kurt, it's just flown backwards with a zapow! And in the operating room, Kitty goes, yikes! And she falls on the ground. And Storm's like, Kitty! And Xavier mentally talks to everyone, even though everyone's in the room. I've mentally examined her, Storm, and she is unhurt. Is everything all right, Kitty? Ach, me, nine. Wow, Nightcrawler? Jaw catching. Back to the drawing board. Jaw catching. That's just funny. And then so that's the main 3 pages, and so the comic's gonna move a lot faster because we are on page no page numbers. Learning to others to pick up the pieces and start repairs all over again. Xavier and Storm fly westward aboard the X-Men's hypersonic modified 6R-17, the Blackbird aircraft. As Carol's bedside, Xavier begins his telepathic examination. And so she's just a complete blank slate. He thinks there's some memories underneath the blank slate that he's trying to conjure, but there's one face he sees, and it's Rogue, who looks more like a 20-year-old here instead of some of her earlier appearances where she looks maybe late 40s, but with like a woman who's had quite the life. Chapter 2. Oh, did they say chapter 1? Did I miss that? No, I think they just launch into the title, but this is chapter 2. New York City, Central Park, mid-afternoon. This is Captain America, living legend of World War II. He has seen better days. And Golden does an awesome quarter-page splash here where Cap's is being thrown through something and into something else. You see Rogue just like gloating over him, like he is just wrecked. Still holding his shield though, probably because it's strapped down. Hope no one ever twists it around his arm and breaks his arm for an issue. And Rogue decides that she's going to take some of his powers, but in a fun way, and grabs his face and just gives him a big old kissy kiss. Not consensually though, so we shouldn't be like rooting for it. And someone should make a list of like people Rogue's kiss, like on panel and off panel, which I guess only off panel would be the Sentry that I can think of reference kisses. Not to bring up that whole thing. Not far away, facing the park across Fifth Avenue, stands one of the most famous buildings on Earth, Avengers Mansion, home of the equally famous team of superheroes. Unaware of what, just in case you got worried that no Avengers would be here, like there's plenty of Avenger action. Unaware of what has just befallen their comrades, Cap's fellow Avengers are gathering for their regular weekly meeting. Which I guess Beast being on the Avengers, and then he's still gonna, and he was on the Avengers around circa 137 of Uncanny X-Men, because that's where he was for to leave the Avengers to join the X-Men for the Shi'ar Avenger, and then he's still on the Avengers around 168 or 175 because don't they check in with him 175 with when they think all of the world's being destroyed? I want to say that's Beast's face. I gotta reread 75. Anyway, so the Avengers, it's Wonder Simon in his big red jacket. Beast is enjoying some tea. Hawkeye, Visions, Jocasta. Oh yeah, is she on the cover? Well, she's not. That's irritating. Scarlet Witch. Jarvis is offering them drinks. Beast is getting. Wonder Man's getting antsy because he wants to go work, even though he's unemployed at the time. At which point, right on cue, crash, and Captain America is thrown through his second building as the Avengers are taken by surprise. While the Avengers react to its customary speed and efficiency, some tending the Cap while others seek his assailant, we shift our scene eastward across Long Island to the corporate headquarters of Stark International, where we find its founder and president, Tony Stark, hard at work in his laboratory, fine-tuning the armor worn by his alter ego, Iron Man. And then he gets a call from Avengers Mansion, but I guess at this point he's still pretending like he's not Iron Man. Although Stark answers the call, it appears to the Avengers thanks to the computer-generated facsimile image of Iron Man transmitted by Stark that they are speaking directly to the Golden Avenger himself. So he's going to say he's going to pick up Dr. Oh, yeah, because they don't want Iron Man. They want Tony to talk to Dr. Blake. Because that's who Thor's human identity is at the time. And so he's getting suited up. His assistant's telling him that Mrs. Janet Pym is here. And she's wearing, fashion icon that she is, like a white tank top with purple pants. And so Iron Man, knowing that he needs to hurry to get Dr. Blake, like makes the phone call, I guess, between panels, and then he invites Jan in, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, might need Yellow Jacket too." And then while he turns his back on her, she slaps a big old magnet on him and shuts him down. And we see it wasn't Janet Pym at all, but Mystique up to her schemes. At that moment, San Francisco-based private investigator Jessica Drew arrives at Avengers Mansion after a hectic eastbound trip with Storm aboard the X-Men's Blackbird. And I guess Storm's like, well, we dropped you off, we're fine. But she gets out of the taxi and sees a woman running behind a building. Meanwhile, in the courtyard behind the mansion, Thor's landing. They don't need him, they need Dr. Blake. Thor's mystic Oru hammer Mjolnir strikes the ground once more, transforming the Asgardian immortal into a lame physician. Which I probably should have not read. But that's what we call people who have a slight limp. And then we see him get slapped across his face with a crack. And it's Rogue. And Spider-Woman tackles her. And then she throws her off. Blake is trying to aim for his cane so he can turn into Thor again. Rogue smashes a brick wall that Spider-Woman's on. Thor is back on. And then he catches Rogue to take her down, and Rogue touches his bare face and hand with her own hand, so now she has the power of a god. Emerald fire explodes from the Dark Angel's fingertips, a bioelectric bolt to staggering proportions. It has absolutely no effect. And this was the second panel I posted on Twitter, where Wonder Man comes out, and he's the worst. What's causing all this commotion? And Vision's like, female in green is unknown to me, but my memory cells recognize her antagonist from our security files as Spider-Woman. But Hawkeye comes in the panel, and he's like, cripes, Thor's being trashed by a woman? Which I had to post and was just like, be better, Hawkeye. And so Vision tries to knock out Rogue by solidifying in front of her, but she's quick to move, and so instead of putting his arm through Rogue's body, which is rude, he puts it through Thor's body, and I guess that causes Vision pain, or at least distraction, and then Rogue just punches him out. And then Simon tries to hit her, but since she's strong like Thor, she doesn't budge, but she tries to absorb Simon, but she can't because he's just pure electricity or energy. And so she just throws him into a dumpster with a wham. Indeed, they are not, and neither is Wonder Man himself. He is a being of living sentient energy. He's powerful as Thor, as immune to the Rogue's mutant powers, abilities, as is the Vision. Realizing her danger, Rogue deals with him in a similar fashion. So she flies up. Hawkeye and Spider-Woman chit-chat. As she references as she's investigating the attempted murder of Carol Danvers, better known to the Avengers as Miss Marvel. Chapter 3. How many chapters is there? 5? Avengers Mansion, the meeting room, later that evening. Cap's out, Thor's out, and so they're still just chatting with Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Wonder Man. And Joe Costa should be somewhere, right? Okay, so they're talking about the last time they saw Carol. And Scarlet Witch gives us the sit rep from the Avengers point of view. We were walking on the beach, she and I talking, when without warning she collapsed. It was morning sickness. Literally overnight, Carol had become 3 months pregnant. In less than 100, oh wait, is there stuff she needs to say? In less than 100 hours, she carried the baby to full term and gave a birth to a son. In less than a day, that son grew to manhood. His name was Marcus. His father was Immortus, a godlike time traveler who has aided the Avengers on occasion. Marcus had originally been born and had lived his life in Immortus's domain, Limbo, but not Ileana Rasputina's Limbo, just a different type of Limbo. And Immortus is also the older version of Kang, who himself is an older version of Iron Lad. But he found the loneliness of the place unbearable. He resolved to escape. I guess I'm not reading this with an attempt at a feminine voice. Unbearable, he resolved to escape the earth. To do that, he teleported Miss Marvel to Limbo, woo her, won her trust and love, and implanted his essence within her, creating a condition that resembled pregnancy. Ugh, I feel like I should read this. So Spider-Man was like, I'm assistant in the San Francisco Police Department. You can confirm that with Lieutenant Sabrina Morrow of Homicide. 6 months ago, Miss Marvel and Carol Danvers vanished simultaneously from New York. 3 months ago, according to Lieutenant Morrow, Carol surfaced in San Francisco where she lived peacefully, unobstructively until last night when I believe Rogue tried to kill her. You seem to find this astonishing. Why? Oh, and Rogue's been implying the whole time that she's permanently taken Carol's powers, so she's fully aware of what she's doing. So she's been cautious about not doing the same to Thor and Captain America. And that's where Scarlet Witch says, because we thought we'd never see Carol again. She was only an adventure for a comparatively short time. I think I knew her best, yet in retrospect, I hardly knew her at all. And Simon adds, because he's useless, she was a strong, self-reliant, take-charge lady. Some people found that a bit daunting. She was also a very private person. Because of that, some believed her to be an emotionless ice maiden. They were wrong. It's like, come on, Simon. And then that's when Scarlet Witch gives us the recap. And then Hawkeye gives us more about Marcus. And this is about how he grew to an adulthood and attacked the city, as chronicled in Avengers 197 to 200. Oh, well, let's just read this because Carol's mentioned. But Marcus was still bound to Limbo. His very presence on Earth disrupted the local time stream, and we had crazies popping out of the wazoo, dinosaurs, spaceships, knights, and armored the works. While we fought them, Marcus was in our lab building a machine he said would save the day. None of us trusted him, but it all happened so fast. There was no time to get a handle on things. To me, it looked like Marcus was the bad guy playing us for suckers. So I destroyed his machine. My mistake. Without the machine, he couldn't stay on Earth, so he had to return to Limbo forever. Then, surprisingly, Carol offered to join him. He'd been in love with her from the start. That was partly why he'd come to Earth, to be with her. Now she'd fallen in love with him. Thor opened a dimension portal with his Oru hammer, and off they went. Hopefully, to live happily ever after. It's like gross. And so Beast is coming out saying he's compared Carol's injuries to Thor and Cap, and he's hoping the boys don't suffer what she suffered. And then they're tracking. Oh yeah, because Rogue has so many energy signatures, they're able to track her easily, and she's on her way to Chapter 4, Rikers Island Midnight. Originally, this was a city. Oh, it's like black text on a green caption. Originally, this was a city jail, but to raise money during New York's ongoing fiscal crisis, a section of the prison was leased to the federal government to be used for the incarceration of so-called super criminals. Among them, inmates and members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutant. One of them is Destiny, a blind woman with a psychic ability to see the future. And so Destiny is commenting about how they're about to get rescued. We see a space, or not a spaceship, but a plane, and Iron Man's armor just gets dropped to the ground from the sky, which Tony feels is very embarrassing. Rogue's aim is as true as her arm is strong, and Iron Man strikes the main generator room with the force of a small nuclear bomb. Originally, and imagine small nuclear bombs are just as devastating as large nuclear bombs. Like, you don't want even a small one going off. Ordinary cells won't hold most supercriminals, and a few can only be imprisoned within massive energy fields. A constant flow of power is needed to maintain those fields, and disruption of that complex electrical grid, no matter how slight, can have devastating effects. Throughout the prison, only 4 inmates are prepared to take advantage of the golden opportunity before the reserve generators come online. Destiny is one. A mutant known as Blob is another. And it looks like Blob's naked for where the shadowing is. Nearby, a path to the prison's inner courtyard is created by Avalanche, who can crumble solid objects, earth, stone, steel, and anything, for a touch or a thought, creating instantaneous avalanche tidal wave effect. Which is nice that they reference it. He doesn't need to wave his hands to do it. He can just casually do it, but I imagine he likes the theatrics of it all. While the Brotherhood's remaining member, Pyro, who is able to control living flame, shepherds Destiny along. In the courtyard, the 4 escapees rendezvous with Mystique and Rogue and quickly don their costumes. And they all look great. Especially Destiny's legs. What a lady. And so the Avengers land, and they start barking where everyone's going to go. Oh, and Vision gives us a little retro. Where's the last time we saw the Brotherhood? A new incarnation of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Hawkeye. Last November in Washington, D.C., all save Mystique were captured by the mutant X-Men when they attempted the assassination of Senator Robert Kelly, as chronicled in the now legendary X-Men 141 and 142. And then with the demon attack, the Nagari demon in 143, like we are still dealing the fallout with lots of of those 3 pivotal back-to-back issues. A moment's concentration from Avalanche creates an irresistible tidal wave of concrete that knocks the Avengers off their feet and sweeps their Quinjet into the East River. And now Pyro has his flame pack, so he's able to create giant flying birds, almost like a phoenix, if you will. And Destiny and Mystique are doing some field ops. Oh, they recognize Spider-Woman, so Mystique wants to deal with her. Destiny warns her to keep focus and not to get overly committed. Once more, utilizing her mutant shape-shifting abilities, Mystique slips into the prison after the Dark Angel. More of the Avengers see her go. None realize that she's missing. Oh, none of the Avengers see her go. None realize that she's missing. They're all too busy trying to stay alive. And Wonder Man is dodging the Phoenix bird. And Mystique, Destiny tells Pyro that Wonder Man's going to duck, and when he does, to attack, turn the bird into a hammer, and so he knocks out. He knocks Wonder Man down, who then Blob with a pow knocks Wonder Man straight through a giant machine with a boom. And Scarlet Witch is knocked out as well, because I guess women can't, ridiculous. But it's Claremont writing it, so I don't know why he. Well, I guess you got to take out the big guns so that she's not a threat later. Beast and Hawkeye are trying to get on the attack. Destiny's telling people where to anticipate. Like Beast is coming for them, and she warns that Beast is going to hit Blob. And Beast is trying to laugh at her because, like, oh, you didn't see this. Like, I jumped on Blob's face to knock out Pyro. And then Destiny's like, you idiot. Like, I let you hit Pyro so that you can land specifically on the spot. And then the floor crumbles from below him. And then the ceiling above him crumbles down on top of him. This Synthezoid Avenger strikes with an inhuman, irresistible speed, attempting the same maneuver against the Blob that he tried hours earlier against Rogue, which also still doesn't work because you can't move the Blob. And Vision's shocked once again, and then Rogue once again knocks him out. Hawkeye starts flinging some arrows, and the Screamer arrow does sort of knock everyone off, and it also has a piercing light effect. Unfortunately, at last, Hawkeye acts a fraction faster, firing a screaming arrow that overloads both optic nerve, and eardrum, the double shock instantly paralyzing anyone within range. Unfortunately, before Hawkeye can capitalize on his good deeds, the floor comes out from below him. In the literal blink of an eye, the archer is buried. And so now Rogue wants to look for Mystique because it's taking too long. In the main generator room, Spider-Woman is taking an interest in Iron Man, trying to get him free. And then we see Nick Fury show up. And we get a little asterisk, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Supreme High Headquarters, International Espionage Law Enforcement Division, and a friend of both Spider-Woman and Iron Man, D.A.K. I've already forgotten who D.A.K. is. Oh, David Anthony Kraft. An editor name I don't quite recognize. And then Iron Man whispers, and I wish he was able to move his arms because I can't imagine he would have done the classic hand over face thing. Spider-Woman, the mutant who captured me, Mystique is a shape-changer, and Nick Fury's attending a NATO security conference in London. So unless she can be in two places at once, I get the picture. And so she, not having to waste any time, just makes a daring leap at Mystique, who immediately turns blue and it's just like blasting away with his machine gun. And Spider-Woman shoots some venom blasts back at Mystique and knocks out the railing she's under. Rogue shows up just in time to try to save Mystique, but gets Shazammed as Iron Man is back up and running and has blasted her, and now he's flying up to then punch her in the face. She's noticing that punch did hurt, so she's losing Thor's abilities. She mentions Cap's too, but I'm pretty sure losing Cap's strength didn't really make her feel any weaker. It's the Thor strength that matters. Destiny starts realizing that things are changing, and so they should probably get out of there. Scarlet Witch is on her feet, and so she's sending hex blasts at people. The Scarlet Witch has the mutant ability to alter power abilities in a wild, unpredictable manner. When she casts her hex spears, literally anything can happen. In this case, an old gas main underneath the courtyard suddenly erupts and explodes. And then Rogue, noticing that Destiny's down, but Spider-Man takes that chance to then zap Rogue, and so everyone's falling. But Mystique tells Rogue to get on the plane, and they're going to come back later. Because they can't help the Brotherhood if they're captured as well. As the main exploded, Pyro seized control of the burning gas, molding the flames in a giant creature of living fire. His intentions were brutally simple: to turn the monster loose against the Avengers and incinerate them. And this is an awesome splash page of this giant flame creature and Scarlet Witch trying to maintain it. Both their arms up in the air, like they don't care. Seeking the danger, the Scarlet Witch cast a second hex and a third and a fourth, pouring their heart and soul into each one without being completely certain of what will happen as a result. Under her desperate onslaught, reality twisted, shattered, reformed before Pyro's disbelieving eyes. The very substance of his construct changed from living flame to unliving stone. And Iron Man's getting ready to start blasting. Hawkeye is regrouping and getting another bull ready. And then Pyro gets hit with an arrow. He goes down. Wonder Man has grabbed a water tower to extinguish the flame, but it's not necessary now. And Beast is coming out of the rumble. Jocasta shows up and mentions how Avalanche is over there. The Hex Spear frees the Beast from the window that had entrapped him. Gravity does the rest. And Beastus lands on Avalanche. Blob is about to smash the Vision in half, but he phases through it, and then heat beams Blob's face, which I guess affects him somehow. Oh. And then Jocasta and Vision turn their heat Visions to the ground, so then Blob falls way deep into a hole. Scarlet Witch does some more hexing, and then all this concrete's coming down on the Blob that's melting because of all the crumbling. And boof is might be what Blob says before the avalanche. The Vision strategy works to perfection. The flash flood smashes the Blob back into the pit, while simultaneously the water combines with the powered wreckage to form a gooey morass. The Blob soon finds himself stuck in a pool of muddy quicksand, unable to escape and in immediate danger of drowning. Sees no alternative, he surrenders. In chapter 5, uh, we get the Quinjet landing at the Xavier school for gifted youngsters, Salem Center, New York, some weeks later. So the X-Men are just having a pool party. Storm's in a white bikini. Carol's in a one-piece raspberry grape color. Spider-Woman's in a bikini or one-piece bathing suit with a lightning bolt down one shoulder to her other opposing side's thigh. And it's crazy that Carol has to do this conversation in a bathing suit. Just like how it's crazy, like New Mutant Special Edition, Ileana's in a bikini, where it's like, seriously, you knew you were gonna make her a prisoner and kept her like was like, yeah, bikini, that's the way to go. But I imagine it's to show both of them as vulnerable as they can be, like it's an artistic choice and a story choice. But it's like, is it? The war, its engines silenced by special noise suppressors, the Avengers Quinjet slides softly down to a landing on the spatial yard behind Xavier's mansion. Its arrival is not unexpected. And this would be the last panel because Kitty Pryde's right here also in a bikini, but you can barely make out her body. And Kurt was swimming. Aurora says, "We will stay if you wish, Carol." "Thanks, Aurora, but no." And then Spider-Woman or Jessica grabbing Carol's hands like, "Are you sure you're all right?" "I'm not sure of anything, Jess, except that this is something I have to do. I feel I have to do." "I understand. If you need a friend, call. I'll hear you." So their friendship clearly, for like weeks, I guess they've been here. At first, no one says a word, and Carol did put on a robe, though. Regretting letting Jessica Drew go, wondering if this sudden burst of terror shows on her face, Lynn. And B says, "Hey, Carol, how you doing?" "Better than expected, Hank. I've never regained all my memories. Professor Xavier has helped me remember who I am, who and what I was. I remember my family. I remember the Avengers and how I came to leave them, bits and pieces mostly. I have a ways to go yet, but I'm forgetting my manners. Please sit down. Would anyone like some iced tea? I'm afraid Wolverine took the beer with him." And Hawkeye, like an idiot, goes, "You're looking real good, Carol. What happened to Marcus? After you left with him, we didn't expect to see you two lovebirds again." "I'm sure you didn't, Hawkeye. Marcus is dead." "What?" "Oh, yeah, and Cap's with them, Iron Man's with them, Thor, Beast, Vision, Wonder Man. The whole team showed up, except for Jocasta. And Cap's the one who goes, "What?" And Iron Man's like, "We're very sorry, Carol. You two made a wonderful couple. We hoped you'd be happy together. Is there anything we can do to help ease your pain?" And that's when Carol drops the tray of drinks. "Didn't you do enough to cause it?" And Beast is all like wide-eyed, like, "Carol, what's wrong?" And Carol's just crying. I'm sorry, Hank, And Thor puts a hand on her shoulder. "Be not ashamed of thy womanly tears, Carol. Thou hast lost the one thou didst love." And Carol just slaps his dumb face. "No!" "Huh? I didn't love Marcus. I never loved Marcus. Don't any of you realize what happened months ago? What Marcus did to me?" And Wonder Man's like, "Guys, maybe our visit was a mistake." And Hawkeye's like, "Nah, dog. Hold it. I was there, lady. You told us you cared for Marcus. You left him of your own free will." "I left because I had no choice. Marcus gave me none." Now she's sitting down. "He was a sad, pathetic creature, possessing the abilities of a god, the body of a man, the emotional maturity of a child." In limbo, his every wish was granted. He saw me, desired me, he used me as a means to escape from limbo to Earth, and when that plan failed, he took me back with him. You saw it happen, Hawkeye. You, Iron Man and Thor, you heard his story. Marcus said that Immortus devices could bend me to his will, but he didn't want me that way. He set out to win my love, and finally, as he told you, with a subtle root boast from Immortus's machines, he succeeded. For all his brilliance, Marcus was careless. He made a fatal error in his calculations. When I gave birth to him, his body shifted fractally out of sync with the rhythm of life in limbo. Where before time passed normally for him, it now passed at a fantastically accelerated rate. In days after our return, his aged years, by the time he realized what had happened, he was too old and senile to deal with it. Within a week, he was dust. And it's incredible that Claremont was like, I'm writing the story. Like, we're correcting this. Free of his mind control, I learned enough of Immortus' sequence to allow me to transport myself home, and the rest you know. And Simon's like, Carol, why didn't you return to the Avengers? And Wanda's like, why didn't you at least contact us? And we catch Jessica and Xavier inside the room, and they can hear all the whole conversation, and they're just feeling bad for Carol. But it was necessary for Carol to do this. And Carol's just crying. Wanda, I never wanted to see you, any of you again. I hate you. Because when I needed you most, you betrayed me. Maybe we go back outside. There I was, pregnant by an unknown source, running through a 9-month term, literally overnight, confused, terrified, shaken to the core of my being as a hero, a person, a woman. I turned to you for help, and I got jokes. The Wasp thought I was great, and the Beast offered to play teddy bear. Your concerns were for the baby, not for how it came to be, nor of the costuming of that conception. You took everything. I don't know. Now I'm reminded about poor Siren and how she gave birth, and then her baby was absorbed, and it's just like a woman being pregnant is not, like, your body goes through stuff. Like, she probably can't feel her toes, or just stretch marks, and just the emotional toil of it all too. Like, being pregnant is no walk in the park. You took everything Marcus said at face value. You didn't question, you didn't doubt. You simply let me go with a smile and a wave and a bouncy bon voyage. That was your mistake, for which I paid the price. My mistake was trusting you, and this is an awesome panel of all the Avengers is feeling sad. Even Iron Man's face mask is sad. After a trauma like mine, it's easy to wallow in bitterness and self-pity, but both grief and guilt had to be faced, dealt with, exorcised. There's more. There was has to be more to being heroes than simply defeating villains. You have a role, a purpose far greater than yourself. You have to set examples, lead the way. You represent what we should be, what we dream of becoming, not what we are. You screwed up, Avengers. That's human. What is also human is the ability to learn from those mistakes, to grow, to mature. And Jessica and Xavier are watching. And now Carol's picking up the glasses that fell in the picture. If we do that even a little, then perhaps what I went through will have a positive meaning. It's your choice. When Beast reaches a hand out, Carol, what are you? What will you do? But she doesn't need a hand out. She needs a hand up. You know what I'm talking about? But Carol just stands up. Pick up the pieces of my life, start again, survive. I'm good at that. And Wanda's like, Carol, I would give anything for this never to have happened. We are so sorry. I know, Wanda. Don't worry, I'll be all right. She wipes away tears. Later, aboard the Quinjet en route back to Manhattan, and Wanda's turning it about herself. Just about, and it's a nice scene though, with her sharing a seat with Vision, and she's crying. It's like, I keep thinking, Vision, what if Marcus had chosen me? And it's like, oh, Wanda, be better. And issue ends with Vision giving a monologue. Wanda, remember what Carol told us. Heed her words. Today we have faced some harsh truths about ourselves, and just as sword goes through fire to temper and harden the blade, so will we, as individuals and Avengers, emerge from the travail stronger and more resistant. than before, and next time, perhaps should there be a next time, we shall not fail. Both we and Carol have been granted a second chance at my love. Let us use it well. Finn. Spider-Woman on sale bi-monthly at 50 cents a copy. Ain't she sweet? And it's Jessica or Spider-Woman punching a dude in the face. And the back ad is for Lego Expert Builder Series Challenge 8860. So you can look that up and see how much if you want to build such a thing. And that, everyone, was Avengers King Size Annual number 10. Claremont's response to the response to Avengers 200. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Did some plugs. You ever want to not just hear my words, but read my words, you can go to shadowandflamewithmagic.com to read the blog that started this whole adventure. And I think I seamlessly promoted all the social medias. So next week, I guess I'm just going to pick a back issue to read, or maybe we'll just do the Inferno tie and no, because I got issues to do. So let's do 3 issues as we have Inferno last 2 books, so we'll be down to 2 issues before the month is over. And then we are in December, and I really have to read those last of the 41 issue numbers, and then I guess in December grab the 42 issues. So that'd be fun to pull out these white comic book boxes and look for them. And so, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you give a like and subscribe and ask a friend to listen as we try to grow the podcast. And I'll talk at you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.